our dreams, protect Ontario.
Good day to all. Welcome to the Boilermakers Local 128 Burlington Training Facility. I'd like to thank Premier Doug Ford for coming out, Minister of Labour David Piccini for coming out today. Great to host a new intake of apprentices, our apprenticeship and training, company contractors, clients. Thank you all for coming out today. I'd first of all like to introduce Jonathan White, our National Director for the construction sector for Boilermakers International. Jonathan?
Well, thank you, Sterling, and thank you to everyone for joining us today. As you know, next week, the province is going to the polls to determine who will lead Ontario. As the most populous province, generating about 38% of the national GDP, the choice of who will lead Ontario is going to have both national and international implications. The International Brotherhood of Boilermakers share in Premier Ford with a commitment to putting Canadians first. We believe that when we invest in ourselves, when we support each other, and when we work together, we immediately improve the lives for hardworking Canadians. And more importantly, we orient ourselves to greater success and opportunities for the future. Premier Ford has demonstrated his commitment to improving lives and providing opportunities in Ontario. He has invested in the province by pushing hard to promote Canadian jobs, Canadian resources, and Canadian technology. Passing the Affordable Energy Act, Bill 214, made it clear that Ford believes in the ability of Ontario to meet our future energy needs through an integrated energy plan that will enhance and expand the province's energy infrastructure. The Affordable Energy Act prioritizes nuclear power to meet our increasing demand for safe, reliable baseload that is essential to the growth of both our manufacturing and industrial sectors. Premier Ford's commitment to long-term resource planning and investing in the best interests of Ontario is demonstrated in his support for the refurbishment of the CANDU nuclear station at Pickering, which leverages an almost entirely domestic supply chain for our proudly homegrown, world-class nuclear technology, generating 11,000 jobs and adding $19.4 billion to Ontario's GDP, all while providing 15% of the province's electricity. Ford's commitment to Ontario included the province investing $4.6 billion to refurbish and expand hydroelectric generating stations across the province, including a $1 billion investment into the Sir Adam Beck stations, the two largest dams in the province, supplying nearly 1/10 of the province's electricity. Ford has compiled an incredible team and some fantastic ministers, from his former Labour Minister Monty McNaughton to his current Labour Minister David Piccini. These guys get it. They really do. We are thrilled to have Mr. Piccini join us today, and I've got to tell you, there has not been another government that has made themselves more accessible to the hard-working men and women of the skilled trades. When it comes to providing access and opportunity, that is exactly what this government has done. in creating the Skills Development Fund and investing well over $1 billion to increase Ontario's competitive advantage by building and enhancing a sustainable and resilient workplace, while at the same time offering rewarding career opportunities for young men and women within the skilled trades. For more than a century, the International Brotherhood of Boilermakers have been building and maintaining Canada's industrial facilities. We've been integral to the growth of Ontario and to our country as a whole. We believe in building a future in which families can prosper. We believe in Canadians. We believe in a Canadian-first approach in everything we do and in every decision we make. For these reasons, we believe Doug Ford is the right choice for Ontario. So help me welcoming Premier Doug Ford.
Appreciate it. Boy, well, Sterling and Jonathan and all the great trainees and leaders right behind me, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for your endorsement, and I want to thank Effie Triantafilopoulos. Thank you, Effie. I think I got that right. You did. And David Piccini, two great leaders of our team, building Ontario every single day. But put it this way, folks, without the International Brotherhood of Boilermakers, when you turn your lights on, think about them, because those lights wouldn't go on if it wasn't for the great work they're doing, not just in our nuclear facilities, but right across the province, and supporting the refurbishment of Pickering and Darlington, putting new equipment into Bruce as well. We're leaders in the world when it comes to nuclear energy. We're going to continue being the leaders of the world in nuclear energy. And I talk to all the trades every single day. They're the future. They're the future of our province, and that's the reason we're investing into these workers. You know, we were saying that we put $1.4 billion in, and David, thank you for the announcement the other day, additional $1 billion, so it's going to be up to $2.5 billion. What this allows us to do, we've already in the works of training 600,000 tradespeople. It's going to bring it up over 1 million tradespeople. They're going to be building for the future. They're going to make sure that we have the energy in our nuclear facilities, continue leading the way, as well as building a brand new nuclear facility as well. Those are jobs for life. Those are jobs for decades and decades. And then the next group of people under the Skills Development Fund will come in and they will train. Folks, when we talk about infrastructure, there's nowhere in North America that is spending more on infrastructure. We had $200 billion allocated. We upped that to over $222 billion. Because when you have a skilled trade, you have a job for life. You have a paycheck for life. You'll be able to go and either pay your rent or put a deposit down on a new home. You're going to be able to feed your family and do things you might otherwise not be able to do. As long as we continue to build for the future, we're going to be the strongest province, jurisdiction, sovereign nation in the world. And when Ontario does good, Canada does great. Now, over the last little while, you've heard the threats from Donald Trump's tariffs. This could affect millions of jobs across our country and in Ontario. But I can tell you, I'm going to fight to protect yourself, your families, your jobs, your communities, your businesses, and we're going to make sure we protect the Boilermakers. Because, folks, that's our strength. That's our strength when we talk about trade. I always say we keep lights on in 3 states, New York State, Michigan, and Wisconsin. And I can tell you what I want to do. I want to ship them more electricity. I want to make sure that we build that AMCAN fortress that I've been talking about to be the 2 greatest, strongest nations in the world. But we can't do that as long as Donald Trump is threatening our livelihoods, threatening to take jobs off us, taking food off our table. I will fight like I've never fought before to protect the families here in Ontario and their jobs. And united, when we stand united, we're going to get through this. I always say, united we stand, divided we fall. And that's my message when I'm going to Washington to meet the governors tomorrow. I'll have a quick trip in and out, but we're going to have numerous meetings. I can tell you the governors have a loud, loud voice. And when I tell them that every morning 9 million Americans wake up to produce products here for Ontario alone, and if these tariffs come through, yes, is it going to hurt Canada and Ontario? It is. But it's going to hurt the U.S. They're going to have plants closing in the U.S., and that's why I need to get down there and communicate our message over and over again to make sure the Americans understand the ramifications of putting tariffs on their closest friends and their treasured allies, Canada. Folks, we've been neighbors since 1867, well before that, and we've always seemed to get along. There's one person that is causing these issues, and that's President Donald Trump. I've talked to endless senators, endless congresspeople. I'll be talking to and governors, but I'll be seeing them face to face this time and getting our message down there. So I want to thank you. Again, I want to thank Jonathan and Sterling. And if you look behind me, that's the future right there. That's the future that's going to keep our nuclear facilities on, making sure we have power in our houses, power to power the factories that are coming here. We've seen $70 billion of investment since we've been in office, and there's 850,000 more people working, and we've never, ever raised a tax. We're reducing taxes. I want to thank you, and God bless the people of Ontario. Thank you.